Back in 2013, police were tasked with a complex puzzle of deceit and lies after the body of a loving father was discovered on playing fields on the outskirts of Sheffield. Police and forensic experts meticulously pieced together evidence in order to catch the killer who violently attacked and murdered a man in cold blood. This is the story of Simon Holdsworth. Simon Holdsworth was a happy, well-liked individual who brought joy and positivity to all of his friends and family. He had a loving nature as a father and partner. His commitment to his family clearly made a significant impact on their lives. He was described by those around him as bubbly, a friendly man. He was well-liked but also respected among his friends and co-workers. Simon worked at fluorocarbon bakeware systems as a supervisor. He was dedicated to his job and had aspirations for career advancement within the company. At the time, working as a supervisor, he held the keys and locked up each night. Simon had ambitions to progress in the company and a good work ethic. He had a passion for Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, which added another layer to his character, connecting him to a community he loved and friends he enjoyed spending time with. He even took his young son to some of the games, all dressed in blue and cheering on the team. With a wedding on the horizon, it was evident that Simon was building a beautiful family life, filled with happiness, love, dreams and plans for the future. Simon worked long hours, supporting his family and saving up for the wedding the following year. He was a loving father and was devoted to his love, Carleen. It was coming up to Christmas 2013 and Simon was working the late shift. He clocked off at work at about 11 p.m. after locking up the factory and turning off the lights. Simon walked to catch his usual bus, the 1:20 first bus at his stop in Burley Spa Lane, where he travelled as usual to the playing fields not far from his home, a shortcut back to the house. It was the playing fields of Rainbow Forge Primary School. The field was on the outskirts of Sheffield, but without warning and in the pitch dark, Simon was attacked as he made his way home. The following morning, Simon's body would be discovered by a passerby with multiple head injuries. The police were contacted straight away and turned up quickly as they cordoned off the entrance to the field. It was evident that Simon had suffered severe skull fractures. There were cuts to his scalp after being repeatedly hit with something heavy, such as a bar or bat. But there were no signs of a struggle. No defensive injuries on his hands or arms, leaving police to suspect that it was possible that he'd been attacked from behind. At night, that area of the field was dark, with very little lighting. There were no obvious motives in this case, and little in the way of DNA evidence. Simon's girlfriend couldn't take it in. She was still hoping that he would walk through the door at any minute, leaving her with the difficult task of trying to explain to her small son why Daddy would never be coming home again. Police spoke to Simon's work colleagues, all of who tried to help police as much as they could. Meanwhile, police searched the playing fields for clues. They did find a pair of gloves. They needed to be examined by forensics. Now, Simon's gold chain and phone were apparently missing, according to his girlfriend. So, was this a robbery? The first break in this case came from CCTV at a local school. The school where the playing fields began. Now it was grainy at best, but a car could be seen parking up next to the field just before Simon was murdered that night, followed by the grainy image of a man getting out of the car. Another man was seen, thought to be Simon, entering the field after getting off the bus, but chillingly, only one person left the field that night. Police were sure that this was the moment when Simon was murdered. Was the man parking his car responsible for Simon's murder? CCTV taken from a nearby bus gave a clearer image of the car that parked up next to the field. Police summarised that it was either a Mark IV Vauxhall Astra or a Mark V Ford Escort. It was obvious from the CCTV that the car headlights on this vehicle were not functioning correctly as they shone on the road. They seemed to show an unusual pattern. It was possible that they were damaged or maybe misaligned. There were various images and videos in and around the area of this car where police were able to pick it up as it drove by. Police spoke to Simon's girlfriend and tried to gather as much information as possible. Police wanted to know, was there anyone that might not like Simon, that might have argued with him or threatened him in any way? But his girlfriend could not think of anyone that would want to harm him. Police also visited Simon's workplace. They spoke to his managers and colleagues alike, but one of his colleagues had stood out. He gave a statement to say that he had left work shortly before Simon left and made his way home by car, a journey that would have taken him a couple of miles, 5 or 6 minutes to get there. His name was Sean Wainwright. He had been working at the factory with Simon for more than a year, and police were interested in looking at CCTV to see if Sean had actually travelled the route home that he would have taken. He drove an Astra as well, but police could not see him on any of the cameras that would have captured him passing by on his way home. They did pick up the CCTV, but this wasn't until 40 minutes after he said he got home. This caused police to be suspicious of where Sean had been in that 40 minutes. He not only drove an Astra, but when police checked it, it also had faulty headlights. Police also discovered that Sean had been one of the first people to visit the crime scene, even laying a wreath on behalf of the factory. In fact, he did not visit just once. Police looked into the CCTV and Sean had visited this crime scene at least 11 times, even talking to police officers on some occasions. In January 2014, Sean Wainwright was arrested and interviewed. He told police that he had nothing to do with Simon's murder, stating that Simon, a very good friend of mine, a very good friend indeed. Although police felt that they had enough evidence to show that Sean was responsible for Simon's murder. When handed over to CPS, they did not feel that police had enough to charge him. Police had discovered that it was Sean who had parked up, that he had been to the area, that he had visited 11 times after, and that he was not where he said he was that night. But he was released on bail while police continued to look for clues and build a stronger case against him. By now, he was their only suspect. Police needed more. This is when police asked for the help from the BBC and the public by featuring a reconstruction of the live Crime Watch show aired on the BBC. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, police looked into all of the CCTV cameras for that evening. The image experts conducted a controlled reconstruction. Sean's car was one of 4 vehicles which drove by the cameras. Then compared these images with the original footage. They concluded that it was impossible that that vehicle on the footage was anyone else other than Sean's car. His blue Vauxhall Astra had a number of unique faults. One headlight dipped more than the other, and it also had uplit number plate, as well as a distinctive boot spoiler, shiny spoked alloy wheels, and non-standard rear tail lights. By closely analysing CCTV taken throughout the local area, police and experts were able to prove that Sean Wainwright's car, which was completely unique due to the faults and modifications, had been at the crime scene that night. Upon being shown the CCTV footage of his car at the crime scene, Sean Wainwright refused to comment. Detectives could now prove that Sean was at the crime scene that night, but they still needed more, so they looked into the missing items, the phone and the gold chain. Police went to various pawn and jewellery shops in the area, asking if anyone had tried to sell any gold chains. And one pawn shop remembered a man coming in selling a gold chain. He had purchased it from the man and then melted it down. During the 16-hour interview, Sean gave a detailed description of his movements that night and in the days after Simon's murder. But he may have missed out an important fact. Going to the pawn shop, and CCTV was used again, this time in the shop, where Sean had tried to sell the chain. It was Sean. He had given details to the man in the shop but given a false address after receiving £90 for it. Police believe that it was Simon's chain, and that was why he failed to mention it to police when questioned about his movements. Officers who had previously scoured the crime scene had initially found a pair of gloves in the field close to where Simon's body was discovered. These were tested and had Sean Wainwright's DNA on them. When questioned, though, he could not offer any explanation as to how they got there. Police were still gathering as much evidence as they could on Sean, but one thing they were interested in solving was Sean Wainwright's motive. Police looked through statements and testimonies of Simon's work colleagues. Sean had apparently told colleagues that after finishing that night, he had drove back to the factory because he had forgot his wallet. Colleagues described Sean as apparently quite aggressive, wanting to use physical violence to work out minor disputes, with people stating that he had a short fuse and responded with maximum force over minor grievances. Police believed that Sean had come back to the factory that night to collect his wallet, asking Simon to open everything up so he could retrieve it. But Simon, being the key holder, supervisor, and finishing his shift, had possibly said no to the request, stating, "I'm going home, everything is locked up." Police believed that Sean was angry at Simon, subsequently driving the 3 miles to where he knew Simon lived. From there, they believed that he lay in wait for Simon to get off the bus before carrying out an attack on him, possibly from behind, before taking his phone and his gold chain, callously leaving Simon injured and dying in the field. Police now felt that they had enough to charge Sean with Simon's murder. He was subsequently charged with murder. Sean Wainwright was known to have a short fuse and get angry with extreme levels of violence. The court heard how Sean Wainwright had even injected an apple with laxatives after suspecting a work colleague of stealing his food. Sean Wainwright had told the court that on the night of the attack in 2013, he was sat in his car after work listening to CDs and drinking lager before going home. But the jury dismissed his story. After a 3-week trial at Teesside Crown Court, Sean Wainwright was convicted of murdering Simon Holdsworth. He was sentenced to a minimum of 28 years before he will be eligible for parole. This callous bully took out his frustrations all because he didn't like the word no. Speaking after the verdict, Simon Holdsworth's family said, "Simon was a much-loved son, brother, fiancé, father, and uncle. Our family have been totally devastated by what has happened to Simon. His life was brutally ended in the most horrific circumstances. Our lives will never be the same again. We miss Simon every day, and he will forever be in our hearts."